Hello and welcome to another episode of the Help Yourself podcast with me, Claira Hermit. And joining me on today's episode is a young man who has taken the vegan world by storm. He's a chef, he's had his cookbooks published, he's got a huge following on social media and YouTube. It is Gaz Oakley!
Good to be here, thank you so much.
Did you like that intro?
That was energy for Monday morning. I'm impressed.
Don't tell them it's a Monday morning. Don't tell them we're here on a Monday morning. I'm dragging people out of bed early to be here and do the podcast.
I'm happy to be
How
here.
are you?
Very good, thank you. Very,
Busy?
Very good. Very busy. Working hard. I'm finishing off my new book.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of writing, which I
Yeah.
don't enjoy, but as soon as I got those ideas out, I can get in the kitchen and start experimenting, which is the funnest bit.
Books usually do have some writing though. Is this one? Is this
Obviously.
another cookbook or is this
Another cookbook, yeah.
Okay, I thought you might do the autobiography of your life. Is that
I
coming?
don't know, I'm only 27.
Yeah, I know,
feel like
but
when
still.
I'm 50 maybe.
No, I think it's interesting now. Your story's really interesting and we're
Thank
going to
you.
talk about it today. So the Help Yourself podcast is all about basically using other people's stories to inspire people, and maybe they can take little bits from it and help them with their own life, their own processes, and just inspire people to do what they want to do, I guess, in a way. And I think for me, as someone who has been a presenter and who does like social media, I always find it interesting when people take something and turn it into a huge success, especially when they manage to brand themselves and like build this thing that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Because I know that there's certain elements that come into play, and so I try and like find out what those elements are. Like, I'm doing this like a little like rabbit burrowing,
I know what you mean.
so that I can get those bits and find out what they are. I can use them, and other people can use them as well. So that's kind of what it's all about. So I know there's going to be people watching this who know who you are, what you do, but there's also going to be people watching it who've got like no clue like who you are, or listening to it as well. I forgot it's a podcast, but I wanted to talk about like your journey into veganism and also into not just being a chef, but to being somebody who's published books, who has this kind of huge following, and what those secrets are, those gems.
Yeah, I think that even if you're vegan or not, I hope you'll find some inspiring bits of my story, because, you know, I wasn't vegan all my life. So, and there's been a series of events that got me to this point. And I'm sure you can apply what I've done to any walk of life or any passion that you have.
Yeah, so we can hear from your accent you're from Wales.
I am.
Yeah?
Is it that strong still?
It's still
I
there.
thought I lost it. I'm from Cardiff, so it's not the strongest accent anyway.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to be Welsh, but I moved to London recently. I'm travelling all around the world,
Yeah.
so I think it's getting a bit tamer now.
Is it? Do you
It's a
think
shame.
you've lost it, the accent a little bit? You can just turn it up. If you go back home to Cardiff and you're around like people from
I
Cardiff.
can go proper Tom Jones if you want me
Yeah,
to.
go on, let's have a little listen.
Oh gosh.
What can you say?
Um,
Are you going to start singing like Tom Jones, or we don't get that?
No, that's only Saturday night in the
Pushing
shower.
it too far.
I'll go into a bit of Welsh in a
Okay,
bit.
well,
yeah,
just
maybe.
switch into it when we're having a
Maybe.
conversation.
We'll see.
So let's talk about like how your journey into being a chef, like into veganism. What were you doing? How did it happen? Like, what was your kind of childhood like? Did you ever think you'd be here doing what you're doing?
No, never thought I'd be here being interviewed by you, which is
There you go,
great.
look at that.
Yeah, there you go. One for the bucket list
Yeah.
then.
Thanks.
So yeah, I started cooking when I was about 8 years old. Just thought every child did it with their parents. Like, my dad was a great cook, so I cooked with him. And I don't know why I did. I just thought, oh, he's using a knife. There's some fire going on here. It's quite fun. Let me get involved. And I was quite artistic, so plating up and things like that. Presentation was fun. I found it really fun. But back then, I wanted to just be a professional rugby player or footballer.
Yeah. I
I was doing so much sport. Sport is all I cared about. But then when everyone got like a lot bigger than me in high school, and I stayed the same height, my dreams of playing professional rugby just went out the window, which is a shame. Still heartbroken about that to this day.
Really?
So I still did sport. I did boxing, football, rugby a little bit. But I had to start thinking about what I was going to do as a career. And I chose to do catering in school, cooking class basically. I was one of 6 in the year to do catering. And it was the only subject out of all the subjects that I actually excelled in. And the teacher loved me. So it was great for a change. And I realised then that I was actually really good at this from what my dad taught me and all the cooking shows he had on, all the cookbooks that he had. I used to just take it all in at home. So I got quite good at it. And I went on I got my first chef job when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So that was part-time whilst I was still in school, working after after school till
but
about
you weren't like
11.
just a kitchen porter, you were actual
No,
chef.
they threw me right in, which is a blessing and a curse because it's so much pressure at such a young age. But I learned so much.
Yeah.
So I wasn't peeling any potatoes, washing any dishes. I was peeling a little bit of potatoes, actually,
yeah,
but I wasn't washing any dishes. So I went straight in there, realised that's all I wanted to do. Wanted to be the new Gordon Ramsay, get a Michelin star.
You're not angry enough to be Gordon
in
Ramsay.
the kitchen. It changes you.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think I'm a firm believer. If your kitchen is running efficiently, you won't hear shouting. It'll be a smooth, like almost like a symphony. Everyone will be working well together. But if there's something going wrong, you're going to hear shouting. You're going to hear bangs. You're going to hear crashes. It's a high pressure environment. So you don't have to be an angry chef.
Man.
Gordon Ramsay may have turned that on a little bit for the cameras, I'm sure. But it is so stressful. Like one of the head chefs I worked for, when I did something wrong, all he had to do was just give me this look of death almost. He didn't have to shout. He just had to look at me with this stare, and I'd want the earth to swallow me up. It was so scary. But I went 16. As soon as I could leave school, I left, and that was where my professional cooking journey really started. Working in some of the best restaurants in Cardiff.
Wow.
As I said, the pressure was intense. Got some stories for you. I learned how to swear in like the first week of cooking.
You learned how to swear?
Yeah.
You've not sworn before? Or just not like in every other word was a swear word?
Different languages.
Yeah.
Because you're working with chefs from all over the place with different languages. Some of the worst words you'll hear, but I was in it. It was
so you know all of those words still now if you ever needed them?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Call upon them now and then.
Okay, good.
Someone sends me a rude YouTube comment.
Yeah. just say it out loud to yourself. Just don't reply. So you worked you're working in some of the best restaurants in Cardiff. Then what happens?
So I did it for 4-5 years. It was tough. It was really, really tough at such a young age. I wasn't sleeping properly because you're working from 8:30 till 11:30 at night, sometimes on the weekends, 6 days a week. I didn't know how to take care of myself at that age when I was quite young, so I wasn't eating properly. Even though you're surrounded by food, you don't eat it because you're tasting constantly, but you're not eating full meals, and you lose your appetite because you're constantly tasting it in small quantities. I wasn't exercising, obviously, so didn't have any time. Wasn't going out with friends, so they were all going to uni, going on dates with girls, and I was in the kitchen with these old men, sweating my off.
You can say sweating balls off, it's fine. It's all right, don't worry about it.
I have to worry about getting demonetized on my channel.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
Sweating my balls off. And then that pressure. So the more you're working, the more intense it is, obviously, and then mistakes start coming in. And I was messing up quite often, realising I just needed a break. I actually walked out of one of the chef job. Like there was so much pressure on me. I couldn't build up the courage to hand my notice in because you're almost like a family, and
that's mad.
I was worried that if I had my notice in, they would have all turned on me, and those last few weeks of being in the kitchen would have just been hell. So I handed my notice, and I couldn't do it. So I didn't have my notes in. I just walked out, which is quite
and just
bad.
Didn't go back.
No, it was just in the middle of a split shift one day. I finished at 3:30 just after lunch, and I was like, it was like the worst shift ever. I can't do this anymore. So I went home, and I just got a job with my dad a week later, just on a builder's yard, loading lorries, just with building equipment. He worked in sales, but he got me a job on the yard, and I just thought I'll just do it for a couple of months, get my energy back, recuperate, and I'll go back into the chefing because it's all I knew, is all I was good at. Yeah. But actually, this sort of this builder's yard job paid more and was half the hours, so I was like, oh, this is great for a little bit, and I got my social life back. I started playing sport again, started dating girls and stuff, and then I realised, okay, this is there's more to life than being stuck in the kitchens. I actually worked my way up in this job. So before I knew I was in the office doing sales, and then I was on the road in a company car travelling around Bristol and Cardiff and all the way up to Swindon and things like that, selling civil engineering materials. Very random.
Wow.
Not what I wanted.
Change.
Yeah, not what I wanted to do, but it was just a great career at the time, and I did it for a couple of years. And as much as it was a great career, and I had all this time back to myself, and I was developing in different areas, it just wasn't a passion of mine. So in the back of my head, I was and I was planning on opening a little deli or a cafe or something like that to get back into the cooking. And I was getting quite depressed because it was just doing something that I know you've done stuff that you've always loved, or for all of your career really, whether it's presenting or being on radio and stuff. But for me, when you get a job that isn't your passion, it's soul destroying. You wake up and you don't want to do what you don't, just don't want to go to work. That's such a horrible place to be in. The one thing that was keeping me going was in the evenings I would go to the gym every night, and I wanted to play rugby again, so I was eating this 5,000 calorie diet, loads of meat, dairy, protein shakes, drinking raw egg whites,
just to get
when I get into something, I'm like all or nothing. So I was just like, I was so determined to put on all this weight. I was quite strong. I thought I looked great, but looking back at pictures, I looked
I'd love to see pictures.
I'll show you some after. Just like it doesn't.
Did your head look really small?
Yeah, it doesn't suit me. No, my face was like this.
Oh, really?
It's massive. So anyway, I was doing this every night. I was eating all this food, all this meat, all this dairy, and after a couple of years of doing it, I realised that I wasn't feeling too good, and no wonder I was eating all this food. So this is what led me on the path to veganism. I started looking on social media, and I love rap, love grime. Jamie, one of my favourite artists, he was posting on Twitter all the time about veganism, and I'd read it every now and then, one of his tweets, and I'd think, okay, that's planted a seed about veganism in my head. And then he was on One Extra talking to Sarah Jane Crawford when she was doing Veganuary, and he mentioned a video that made him go vegan overnight. He posted a link, and having
what video was it?
I'll tell you now. But having what I sort of read, it was enough to make me feel guilty every time I was eating my meals. So I thought, enough is enough. I'm going to watch that video. And
so you didn't actually watch it straight away.
Not straight
just
away.
What he'd said was making you feel guilty. Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
So I watched it. It was a speech by Garde. Anyone at home, if you're thinking about veganism, you need a real motivation to keep you on track. Like, if I just went vegan because I saw a few tweets, I don't think I would have stuck to it. I needed that real motivation. So this video,
wake up call.
This video, all he's doing is in a university in America, talking about animal cruelty, the effect that animal products has on our body and on the planet, and it's not in a forceful way that makes you sort of put up this. You have to watch it with an open mind, definitely, but it's not like, it doesn't slam sort of slaughterhouse videos down your throat and you're like, I can't watch it, and you put that brick wall. He explains things so eloquently, that's a word, that I just took it all in, and I thought to myself, why the hell didn't I discover this sooner? Why didn't I go vegan sooner? So that point on, I realised that the only food I'd ever eat would be vegan food, and the lifestyle I live would be vegan. And I went into the kitchen and was like, what the hell am I going to eat now? But that first meal I made was the nicest, tasty, vibrant meal that I'd had in so long. It was literally, I just went to Sainsbury's and picked up everything that I saw with a vegan sign on it. Actually, I ended up just being a salad with hummus and falafel. I just made it from scratch, and it was lovely. And it was nice having some flavour for once, because I was so used to eating just chicken, rice and veg, fish, rice and veg from training so much. And my taste buds came alive. I remember ringing my mum up, who was on holiday at the time, saying, "Oh, Mum, I'm going vegan now." And she's like, "What is that?" She couldn't believe, she didn't know what it was. And then she came home. I cooked her some food. She started understanding it. My mum didn't even watch the video, that Gary Rossi video. She went vegan straight away after
because
me.
she had.
Wow. And because I explained to her some points, and my dad sat down and watched the video and went vegan himself as well.
That's
so
mad.
It's an amazing video. It's very powerful. I recommend everyone watching it if you're ready. If you're ready, definitely. I'm lucky that I had those professional cooking skills to rely on when I went vegan.
Because then you can start using them. But then when did you think, so at that time, you're going to the gym, like you've got yourself into this place where you've been doing your 5,000 calorie diet, and you're like this. If you're listening to this, you won't know, but I'm just like putting my arms out, making myself as big as I can. But so you're like that, and then suddenly you're like, right, I'm going to go vegan, which probably is less calories. So then did you start to lose like that mass? I mean, you're obviously not that size now, so was that like a psychological worry for you, or when you went vegan, was it just like, actually I don't care about that now?
it was like a weight off my shoulders in more ways than one. So the guilt of eating meat and dairy had gone. So that was nice and made me feel light and fresh. And then just eating this healthy, nourishing food just made me realize that I didn't care about eating all those calories. Getting back to my normal weight, I should say, was what I felt like doing. I was still going to the gym, but I wasn't piling on that additional weight just for no reason.
Yeah.
So I did lose weight, and I lost focus. Like the gym was my passion because I didn't have a passion day to day because I was in that sales role. So my new passion was veganism,
right? Okay.
And then cooking again. So the cooking is what I miss so much, and being able to just start cooking vegan food and make it exciting was my new passion. And it got to a point where I was going into my job, into work, and explaining to my colleagues and saying I'm vegan now, and trying to explain what Gary Yourofsky said in his video, realizing that I'm not the best talker. So when I was trying to explain to them, it was coming across in like an argumentative way, and they'd put that brick wall up, and they wouldn't take anything in. So whenever I actually take in my food for lunch and they'd smell it and they'd see it, they'd realize that, okay, it looks all right, let me have a taste of that guy. And I'd give it to them. They'd be like, oh, this is quite nice. So I started realizing then that the best form of communication for me to get veganism across to them was just through my food. Yeah. So I did a little experiment. I got 4 of my biggest meat eating friends over, cooked them some lovely vegan burgers, because it's in, burgers is in a sort of form that they can relate to because they have burgers.
Makes sense to them, yeah.
And they loved them so much, and a couple of them went vegan after that as well. So I realized then that that's where I needed to put my attention, keep making this amazing food, make veganism my form of sort of activism. Because when you go vegan, once you've seen that Gary Yourofsky speech, for example, all you want to do is like tell your loved ones, your family, your friends, look, this is actually what's happening when you eat meat. This is actually what's happening to the animals. This is how that meat gets to your plate. This is what's happening to the planet. So if I can explain it in a way that's not going to make them put that brick wall up just for the food, that's what I'll do.
Then it makes sense. So then you've then gone vegan, and you're like, right, okay, this is my passion now. I'm making the food, but presumably you're still in the sales role and you're still doing that. So when did you think, hold on a second, I can make a career out of this?
Never a career. I never thought about that. I just thought that I needed to share that passion, share the resources that I have. I got all these skills from cooking in the kitchens. There was no one out there putting out high quality recipes at the time. This is 4 years ago. On Instagram, for example, and all I saw was smoothie bowls and salads for vegans. I thought, this is a bit boring. Let me start taking pictures of the food that I've been making at home.
And you already said you're good at the presentation, because it always looks great as well.
So presentation is just, people eat with their eyes. So if you're a cook but can't present, then I'm sure you can make tasty food, but you need to make it look beautiful. It's just something that I've always really enjoyed doing. So it was actually friends that told me to start posting pictures. So I didn't want attention, didn't want that stuff. So
it's changed, hasn't it?
No, I'll tell you more about that after. But I uploaded my first picture on Instagram, and I started an Instagram page specifically for the food, because I didn't want it on my personal page. I didn't want people to, like, you're worried about what your close friends are going to think. They're the only ones that are going to judge you in the end of the day.
Well, they're the only ones that matter. Their judgment matters, I guess, doesn't it? Other people you don't care about so much.
I guess. But like, if I have any advice for anyone, is don't care what any of your friends are going to think. If you believe in something, just post it. Yeah. So I posted it on this page. I called it my initials, GO_vegan. That was taken. So I did GO__vegan. Got that one. That was messing with my head for a little while. So I then rebranded and called it Avant vegan. Yeah. And before I knew it, after skiving off work slightly, spending all my time in the kitchen presenting and making this food and taking pictures of it, experimenting, taking pictures of food, uploading it, and then seeing all these people reacting to it, and then trying the recipes and commenting. I couldn't believe it. I got to like 7,000 followers, thought I made it, and quit my job. Yeah. And I was like, shit, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do with my money? But it goes to show that as soon as I could put 100% of my time and effort into it, literally the weekend after, I was at a vegan festival with my own store selling cakes and stuff like that that I made in my parents' kitchen. So I know I'm very lucky that I got my parents who were so supportive. letting me live at home rent free when I just quit my well-paid job and things like that. So I know that everyone can't just go and put everything into the 100%, but if you can do it, then do it, because just that first week alone, I was at that vegan festival the next day, meeting all these other vegans that, you know, could sort of buy into what I do. Sold out all of my cakes and donuts that I made in that first weekend. It was wicked, and all that time that I had on my hands, I was just putting into creating the best food pictures possible, the best recipes, and I started building the Instagram up as much as I could, and then YouTube came along.
So was that you on your own deciding to do YouTube and to start making those videos, or was it someone else's idea, or you're like, right, okay, now I need to do these longer form videos where I'm actually talking people through things?
I can't remember, but I remember the fact that I was making this really sort of out there food. So I was making, you know, seitan. Yeah. It's an ancient meat replacement. So I sort of modernized the recipe, and I started making things like vegan steaks, vegan chicken, vegan burgers, hot dogs, all this stuff. And sometimes people saying, this can't be vegan. And I was like, let me just show people how to make it. So that's why I started doing YouTube. Just posted on Twitter, any local film crews that want to help me. Found one. I didn't have any money, no budget whatsoever, just about pay them. And then I realised that my parents' kitchen wasn't good enough to film in. So I was looking at studios in London. They were all so expensive. Yeah. So then I looked on Airbnb. Yes. I found this Airbnb with a nice kitchen somewhere in West Wales. I turned up. I met the owner there at like 4. And then just told him, it's just me this weekend. It's like a 5-bedroom house. I said, yeah, just me this weekend.
Just hanging out.
Oh, okay. And then like an hour later, after he left, my crew turned up with all these bags and took over the place. And that was the first time I started filming. We did like a weekend, did about 9 videos. And this isn't me. I know I said about the attention. I feel quite nervous doing this. So when I stood in front of the camera on that first day, I just froze. I didn't smile. I was shaky. And that first video went, it was terrible. But,
really?
I
deleted it. Still out there?
No, I deleted it. No. I deleted it. But by the end of that weekend, the last day of filming, the last video, I realised that, you know, I'm just cooking. That's what I'm good at. That's what I've always done. So I relaxed into it then. I really started enjoying it. And it just motivated me to know that I can do it. Yeah. Next season came along, I changed up a few things. I told the cameraman, I want you there. I started directing it more, changed up the kitchen, got a different Airbnb, made it more me, and got into it. I'm now 11 seasons into my YouTube channel.
That's mad.
710,000 subscribers.
I think 711,000.
711. It's going up so fast at the moment, which is amazing to see, because it's such hard work. Yeah. It's so rewarding, and people take so much from it.
How did you said about the attention thing, so it's kind of like from going to posting, I guess, like anonymous pictures of just the food that you've done to then being the face of something. Like, how did you gear yourself up for that? Because that's quite a bit different. Like, I saw we were at Vegan Camp Out, and you did your talk to the maybe like 4,000 people were sat watching you, and you've done this talk on this massive stage, and then I was doing the Q&A, and the first person I put the mic in front of was a girl who's like, Gaz, will you marry me? And then it's like, what's your friend Tom say, that you're like the Justin Bieber of the vegan world? And there's like this queue of girls afterwards that all want to take a picture of you. So how do you deal with all of that?
Dealing with the attention, I guess. It's not as if I'm known for something that I'm ashamed of. Yeah, I'm so proud of myself for putting myself through those hours in the kitchens back in the day. Like, I'm really grateful that I did that. I can't believe I had the courage and I could do it at a young age. It was crazy. So I'm happy myself for that. Also proud of what me and my team has put out there in terms of the quality of my videos and things like that. And the attention is a good thing. Everyone's saying really nice things to me. I get the odd marriage proposal, and that's like not an issue. I don't think. I know that I'm not going to struggle when I come to finding a wife. My ex-girlfriend hated it, and that's probably the downfall to that relationship. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's one of those things. But when someone tells me that they've gone vegan because of my videos, or my videos have helped them, that's what I do it for. Or even someone just telling me they've cut down on eating meat because of this new resource that was never there. Put in a sort of TV ready cooking show on YouTube is the best thing I could have possibly done, because there was no TV vegan cooking show out there. I grew up watching cooking shows, and if I could do something just as good on YouTube, then I've done what I wanted to do, so I'm happy.
Which is an amazing thing to do. So
thank you.
I think when you're doing stuff like that and you're on your own, you have to be the motivated person, and there must be times, it doesn't matter how great things are going, where you just like you wake up, or like something's kind of affecting you personally, and you just feel a bit crap. So how do you manage with those times to make sure that you still stay consistent and get your work done?
Yeah, there's been some really lows on this like journey, so but I think having a good team around you's helped me a lot. Got a great assistant, Tom. My family are amazing, and I don't know, like I do have some bad days, but something that really helps me is just going to the gym, doing exercise, clear my head. That's the main thing. If I don't exercise, I'm struggling, so I go to the gym more or less every day, or do some running. That helps me. Eating healthy, which I generally do anyway, because I'm eating a vegan diet, is great for your mind and keeping you motivated. And if I'm having a tough time, I'll do a bit of traveling, or I'll take a tiny bit of time off.
So you do give yourself that space. Like if you need it, you recognise it, and you're like, right, okay.
And plus, when you're so busy, you have nothing else to think about. You just have to concentrate on what I'm so busy that sometimes I don't. It's not a good thing, but I don't let anything bother me, because I'm just focused on what I've got to do. And it's my passion. Like every day is great. Every day is different. Like today coming here is so fun. Like this is amazing. I'm about to do my mixtape after in the studio.
Exactly. Drop a few bars.
It's fun. Like as long as you're doing something that's fun, you shouldn't have a bad day.
But I think it's interesting, because you mentioned again there, like you said it, you're in kitchens, and kitchens are known for being like really high pressured environments. I know someone who's worked in like various different Michelin star restaurants in London, and he just said it is kind of like torture. It's just horrible. And it's the way you talk about it as well, when you didn't want to leave because you feel like you're leaving a family. It's almost like, you know, kind of like being indoctrinated into like a club, like whether it's like the police or it's the army or it's something like that, and you feel like you can't even tell the truth, because if you do, people are going to turn on you. That's hard for a grown-up to deal with, let alone when you're like 15, 16 years old. So do you like look back on that time and just think like, how did I survive? Because you did it for years as well, like 5 or 6 years.
I don't know how I did it. I remember my mum was so worried. I'd come home from this long shift. She said I just looked like a pale ghost. Like I looked so skinny and everything, just because I wasn't eating properly. So I don't know how I did it. I'm so happy I did it. But I think I don't want to put anyone off the chefing industry, because it's getting better.
It's changing, definitely.
In the Michelin star restaurants, you're still going to be asked to work a long amount of hours. The reason being is because it's all about consistency in restaurants. So if you're changing teams constantly, changing shifts, then the consistency's likely to go up and down. That's why you're asked to work long hours. Now, it's a dream of mine to have my restaurant. I'm sure I'll be going back to doing a similar amount of hours. I do a long amount of hours now, but the stress isn't the same. So when I have my restaurant, I'll make sure that my staff in the kitchens are looked after well, and not put through that. And
just because you know you've had that experience, I guess.
And you're gonna get a happier team, which is going to result in happier customers. And
I think a better turnover of work. Definitely. How did that affect you mentally though? Because I think it's like, I know, especially obviously you're a man, and I think that there's this whole kind of idea of like toxic masculinity and the inability to be able to vocalize and talk about kind of like mental health issues and stuff. But it sounds like it wasn't just taking a physical toll on you, it was taking a mental toll on you as well. I
agree about that whole that stigma thing, because I feel a bit, not embarrassed, but feel a bit about talking about things I've suffered with. But back then I don't think I had any sort of mental issues then when I was chefing, because it was just like, it was just more the sort of toll it had on my body physically. But on this journey that I've been since handing my notice in, for example, it's been such a turbulent thing. Having your own business is tough, and you like when I had no money for so long, but I was still trying to put out that quality content constantly. And then my dad got ill, and then issues with my ex-girlfriend, and then you'd see negative comments on social media. Like, it's a lot to take in, but as I said, I've developed quite a bit of a thick skin now after a couple of years of doing it. Keeping sure I'm in that routine of exercising and eating right, and then I'll be okay.
But when you're in those times, did you ever want to just go, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore, like it's too much, like just make it stop? Because it's like you've got all of those personal pressures going on and all of that stuff happening, and then you're still trying to turn out, like you say, you've got like a content schedule, I'm sure, that you've got to stick to, like you've got an audience that are like waiting for you to post stuff. Was there ever a time where you're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore?
I'm so competitive. So just from sport, I couldn't fail. I couldn't let myself fail. And the other thing, I was so motivated by obviously the Gary Yourofsky speech, seeing things, or what happens in those slaughterhouses, or what's happening to the planet, especially in this right now, with all the stuff that's out there, with the Amazon on fire constantly and all these different things. I was just so motivated to make it. It had to work, and there's not enough resources out there for new vegans, people wanting to go vegan. So I just had to make it work. There was no way I was not letting it. So fail.
You were motivated by the fact that you there was a need for this kind of vegan content, and you knew the message was so important.
Exactly.
Where did your belief come from that you can actually make this into something? Because there must have been so you're just posting your pitch. Someone says to you, right, your food looks great, like you should start posting it on Instagram. So you're like, okay, cool, I'll start as whatever it was, go__. So you start posting it, and then it's like, okay, I've got like 1,000 followers, and then things start to grow. When did you think, right, no, I can actually make something out of this? Because you said 7,000 followers is when you quit your job. But at what point was it like, no, this could actually be something?
I guess so thinking of like a business point of view, when I can make it a career, when you reach a certain amount of followers on social media, brands start talking to you. Can you? And I'm very fussy about who I work with. Like, as long as they align with me, then I'll do it, and I feel passionate about the product.
Yeah.
But I was being asked to sort of include ingredients into my recipes, or wear a cool t-shirt, and I was like, oh, this brand, I love this brand, they want me to wear this, okay, I'll do it. And then same thing with YouTube, and then my videos got a certain amount of views, and then they were being monetized. So I was like, okay, this is not only is this my passion, but I'm able to now make a living, which means I can invest more into the production quality. So the more I was consistent with posting on social media, the more networking I was doing at these vegan festivals resulted in a bigger, more engaged audience, and then the brands would come in and ask me to promote it, and then you realise then it's a career. Yeah.
And then at that point, did you start going, right, okay, I can set goals, and I can, because what were your what are your kind of goalposts? Because then it's like, I've got 7,000 followers, brands are coming hollering. But where does it stop? Did you have like this big huge picture? Because you're, like you said, like 711,000 Instagram subscribers on YouTube is huge. So where was it like, right, okay, I'm gonna, because I think unless you believe something and you that's actively what you can have it, then it doesn't necessarily appear. So it's that kind of that self-belief and that drive and that motivation that you're talking about.
Yeah, I've never been one to really just like write down a list of goals. But I just always knew that if I put the effort in, put the hard work in, sacrifice, don't go out that much, put all my effort into what I'm doing, then the goals will come to me.
Yeah.
So, but one of the goals that I did have was to write a book.
Yeah.
I've done 2 of those now. So yeah, that book, Vegan 100, came out in January.
This book's called Vegan 100. I really hate plugging.
I think it's so cringe.
Do you feel like cringy now?
So that came out in 2018, and then I did a Christmas book as well, vegan Christmas book that came out last December, and then I'm writing my 3rd one now. The recipes in the first 2 books were quite long-winded and complicated.
Right. Okay.
Not all of them, but some of them, and I think they're for a really like keen home cook.
Yeah.
But I've realised now that what I really need to do is make
convenient,
simple food, but using my professional cooking skills so that they're not bland and boring.
And your professional posing skills as well.
Oh, well, comes natural.
Comes naturally to you now, does it? Look, there he is.
So yeah, so setting goals, like thinking about doing books, was something I thought I would love to do, but I never thought it'd happen. So I never put it down as a goal. I just thought, if I keep going at this, maybe I'll attract that.
Yeah.
And it did. And then YouTube was getting to like season 5, for example, because I film in seasons. So I'm now in season 11, and the goal is to reach 1 million subscribers and then announce where my first restaurant's going to be and when it's going to open.
And you've been saying that, haven't you? For how long have you been saying that for? Since the start?
Quite a few months now, yeah.
It's not far off though, 300,000,
and then coming up.
And then the restaurant's there.
Yeah, so I'll announce where it's going to be then.
Do you already know?
I'm torn between a few places.
Okay.
Yeah.
In London, or are you going Wales?
No, not Wales for the first one.
Will it be in this country?
Either if it's going to be in this country, it's going to be in London. Yeah.
And if it's not in this country, what country would it be in?
Potentially LA or New York.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Would you live in those places then? You like it there?
I'd like to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying that is not because it's because my audience is so strong there.
Yeah.
So you've got to go where your audience is essentially.
Yeah.
But I don't plan on just having one restaurant. But I know how tough the industry is.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have the right resources, if I'm not financially ready, if I'm not mentally ready, then it's going to fail.
Mm.
And I know that if I don't have the resources set up or the right people working with me, say for example, like so many things go wrong. Like I remember in the kitchens one day you'd turn up and the oven would be broken. Like
you've got to buy a new oven or get it fixed.
Yeah, if it's not working on the morning of service, what are you going to do? So I know that I'm going to get those phone calls if I don't have a good structure set up. So it's all going to come. But I just want to take my time with it.
Yeah.
But I know that my restaurant is needed. I think there's too many fast food places. There's not enough really nice sit-down restaurants, 2.5 hour visits, when you have wine, take a date there, nice setting, beautiful food. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah, we don't have that in London. And I think that's like, even for me, when I've looked somewhere, even if I want to go somewhere for like a birthday or for an occasion, it's like, oh, where can I go that actually has that kind of, that feel and that vibe to it, that it's kind of somewhere, like a proper restaurant that's really nice, that you can chill and that's just a bit different. And I know there's loads of them that are not vegan but that have vegan menus, but I just think the food's not as good. And you normally have to have, it will be like the vegetarian menu but just without the bits that are like contain dairy or something, so you're kind of like
it's getting better now though. Like you said, that loads of the high street restaurants have vegan menus. I've just collaborated with Wagamama. Like,
here he goes. That's another plug.
So I didn't want to do that. But I just want to say that, like, a restaurant like Wagamama, for example, a huge high street restaurant, over 150 restaurants, it's got a dish of mine on the menu that I did in collaboration with them, and it features a vegan egg that I made. So, like, it shows the point we're at now. So if anyone's thinking about going vegan, you're thinking, I'm not going to be able to eat out with my friends, you definitely can.
Everywhere
nowadays.
has vegan
Everywhere.
Stuff. Everywhere.
Particularly in London, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think, but even all the chain restaurants, so it just makes it so much easier, because then it's like, oh, wherever you live, you can go to like a Pizza Express or a Zizi or like any of those places, and they still have vegan food, so you don't have to be left out. You don't have to not have pizza or not
and
have.
It's not bad. It's like,
no, it's good.
It's really surprising how good it is.
Yeah, it is. I just want to go back to the time when you were working as a salesperson, and how many years did you do that for?
3 or 4.
So 3 or 4 years, you're doing something you're not passionate about. And I know you kind of said to me, oh, but you've been doing presenting or whatever for years. I have, but I've also had jobs on the side to be able to support it, because it's also like when I started interviewing grime artists and like MC, there was no money in that world. Then. There was nothing. So it was kind of like you just did it for love.
The new one's got it easy these days,
yeah, exactly, right? Now there's money and there's brands and etc. But there just wasn't at that time. So you did it because you loved it. And that was like, and because you had access to all of these amazing people. And that was like, I loved it. So I was like, I love these people, I love this music, I love this scene. And like there was kind of like an energy and a freshness and a newness about it.
And it's credit to people like yourself who were there at the start, because grime is huge now.
Yeah.
UK rap is massive now.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for people like yourself, SBTV, GRM, back in the day, like supporting it, then where would it be?
Exactly.
Because none of the big media outlets wanted to know.
They didn't want to. And I think it's those young, like, so it's like Jamal, it's like Posty, Rashid at Link Up, that they kind of had that passion for the music in the first place, and then they wanted to provide that platform. And then there was people like me, like Ramel, like Georgia LA, Aaron, who were kind of loving these people and wanting to do like create content around them that was equivalent to what we were seeing on TV, whether it was like T4 at the time, to like create these interviews where people were respected but also were allowed to show their personality. And that's what I found, like when I used to watch content with people, it would be like, you know, you wouldn't get to see that they had any kind of personality. Some of them didn't, by the way. I'm just going to put it out there, but, you know, you found out some of them did not have a personality. But most of them, like most people, didn't take themselves too seriously, like were pretty cool. You could have a bit of like banter with them, and that made them more human, and it like it made people like more likable. Especially when they had to contend with me. Then people were like, oh shit, here comes Claira. I'm going to hide from her right now. But I had to do jobs that I didn't enjoy. So I was also doing, like, I worked on a hotel reception. I did a marketing manager role, which was for like a cool company. But I hated the work, and I hate, I'm sorry, like hate's a strong word, but the idea of doing something from this time until this time every day in the same place.
I think about that all the time. Yeah,
it's too much for me. Like, I can't do it, and it really started to affect me mentally, because I think as a creative person, I like to have the flexibility to be able to go, oh, I want to do this today, or like, can we do this today? And when you have to be somewhere from 9 to 5 every day, it doesn't allow you that. And I also feel like at that time was when my sister was really ill, and then she died, was when I was working for that company. I think I got that job just after she died. And I feel like as humans, we go through, like you're talking about, like these ups and downs. And when you're somebody who's self-employed, you have the freedom that if you need to take yourself away for a little bit, to go through a process. But if you work a 9 to 5 job, you still just got to go to work and pretend everything's okay. And then I think we suppress things, and it can get like really like dangerous. But when you're in a job, I'll get back to my point. I've gone like way over here. But you're in that job, and it's like you're doing like those set hours, and you've got to perform. It's not something you're passionate about. You're not feeling like great about it. But then you have to turn up, and you have to do it. But you know there's something else that you want to do. How do you have, I guess, the courage? Because when you're earning a certain amount of money, and that's affording you a certain lifestyle, and it's giving you a certain amount of time, how do you have the courage to go, do you know what? I have to stop this and go down this other path. Yeah,
it's a couple of things really. Like you said, hate is a strong word, but I hated it. I used to get up 7 o'clock to go to work for 8, and I would be like, what? Why am I don't want to be up this early. I don't want to be going somewhere this early, somewhere I don't want to go. I just don't want to do it. So I didn't like it. Also was lucky, like I said before, I had this great family. My parents are amazing. You know, they supported me. They knew I didn't like it, and they knew I had this new passion that was growing. So I was able to quit. And again, there's just that burning sort of desire to spread veganism, spread what I can do, show people how to eat less meat and all this stuff. So there's a few different reasons, but I'm so happy I took that leap.
How did you cope during that time though? Because it was like 3 or 4 years when you're doing it. How did you kind of keep yourself sane? Just going to the gym was like your saving grace?
Literally, honestly, if I didn't have the gym, I would have been very, very sad.
Yeah.
Because 9 to 5 or a bit longer when you really think about it, going somewhere you don't want to go every single day, living for the weekend, and then on the weekend you're knackered. Yeah. It's not good. So the gym really helped me. But I think that if anyone has a passion and they're and ahhing about whether they should make it a full-time thing, just know that if you put 100% of your effort into it without that 9 to 5 that you're in at the moment, something's going to happen. You know, the more people you meet, the more people you network that you're unable to do whilst you're in this 9 to 5 office job, for example. It will pay off for you.
Do you think that though? But do you think it has a lot? Because I think that, but I also think it has a lot to do with your mental state. Like from my understanding, it's like, because the way that I, you know, like grew up without my mum, and then like I had a bit of a strange relationship with my dad and my stepmom, and it was always quite tough. Like I had certain beliefs about myself, you know, like not being good enough, and like lots of different kind of limiting beliefs and underlying beliefs that I really feel like when I look back, I call it cock blocking, because it's not actually blocking a cock, but I cock block my life because I had these beliefs that literally, when I look back, I can see in situations how they stopped me. So even though this is something that I'm really passionate about, like when I look back now at videos that I was doing, I was like, you were actually really good. But at the time, like I really didn't like myself, and I would look at it and be like, no, it's not good enough. And so it's like, and then when I'd look at it and be like, no, it's not good enough, it made me not want to do it anymore. So it was kind of like, because my mind wasn't in the right place, it didn't matter. I was putting in loads of effort and I was working really hard, but I also couldn't see myself although I wanted to be like successful and be on TV, I didn't actually believe it was possible. And that's why earlier I said to you about belief when you were talking about motivation, because I feel like unless you actually believe it's possible, I don't know if it can be.
I guess it was my time then.
Yeah.
But if you ask yourself those same questions now, I bet you're ready for it, you know? I think people
remove the cock blocks.
Yeah, exactly. You can get rid of that cock block. I think people's lives start, you know, I know obviously start when you're born, but I mean start on your careers start at different points, you know. So I think there's a time when people are ready to do it. I guess some would say I'm lucky that it started relatively early for me, 24, when I quit my job and went into it. But you never know, that passion could start when you're 50, for example, when you start doing it. So I think it just comes a timing, and maybe it's a case that because I took the leap when I was 15 and went straight into that environment, working with people a lot older than me, and it's almost like being part of a rugby team. The kitchen is so like it's like a battle of the fittest almost, you know, and it toughened me up a little bit. So maybe that the reason why I started quite early was because I'd been through that. So
you just had enough,
I guess so,
and also I think you've probably done quite a lot, because like most people might still be in uni at 21, but by which time you'd almost had like one career, and then you were starting on another career before you went on to this career that you're now in and that you're now doing. What would be your advice? Because you're saying like age doesn't matter. I don't think it is a thing, and I think that for a lot of people, they might have responsibilities. Like you said, you could live at home rent free and you had your parents' support, but it might be now like someone's 35, they might have a mortgage or they've got rent to pay, but there's something they're really passionate about doing, and they're still doing their 9-to-5 job because they've obviously got stuff to pay for. What would be your advice to them to kind of cultivate, or to anyone who wants to cultivate something that they're passionate about, to maybe get it to a point where they could leave the 9-to-5 behind? Just stroking the wall.
I guess it would take a little bit longer if you got a 9-to-5 job, but just put as much time and effort as you can into it. Literally as much time and effort. Network with people potentially that can work with you on the project, and you know, build more of a team, and you can share the load of the work there. But just spend, if it is your passion, you really want to make it work, then you just have to invest in the time. You have to work hard. If that's working late at night, then do it. I still do it now. Every night I go straight to bed. Last night I did say I watched Top Boy, but it's a rare occasion. Okay. But I'm doing work on my laptop. I'm still investing that time now. So just work really, really hard at it.
How do you stay that self-disciplined? Because that's serious self-discipline, I think. Because it's so easy. Like you said last night, you watched Top Boy, for example. Like, it's okay. We're not judging you. I was watching it last night as well. But it's so easy to then tonight, when you know you've got emails to do, I know you're already in it, but say you're at the start of something and you don't have, like, you're at the start, you want it to work out, you don't know if it's going to work out, and then you get home, you're tired, like you're worn out, you probably should do the stuff for this thing that you're passionate about, but you could just watch the next 3 episodes of Top Boy.
Yeah, I get that sometimes, but
how do you stay motivated and self-disciplined enough in those times to make sure that you are still getting it done?
So I wish I could come with like a really good philosophy. I can't even say the word.
Philosophical.
I wish I could come with an answer like that, but I don't have an answer. But what I would say is to-do lists really help me.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
But when you talk about self-discipline, you obviously had to be self-disciplined as a chef. You obviously had to be self-disciplined to go to the gym every day, and you obviously had to be self-disciplined to do a sales job. So do you think were you someone who used to like do your homework?
Not really. When I'm passionate about something, I'll just do it. I have to do it. I think I'm learning that people are different, so either you got it or you don't. But everyone has a passion. So if someone can do their passion every day for the rest of their life, then they're going to do it. And that's the same thing with me. I just do it. I have to make it work. Like right now, I'm writing this new book, and I've got to hand it in on the 1st of October. So I have to get it done. I'm just writing. I'm constantly doing it.
But that's when you know it's worth money. Yeah. Like, so I think there's a different, like, when you know it's worth money, it's like, right, okay, well, when I've done it, then I get like this.
So I don't even think about the money side of it. Yeah.
But so you were already doing that before you were making any money out of it. You were putting that in there. Yeah. But is it that because you knew, like in your head, you knew that it would turn into something bigger? Did you already, like, you must have already known, otherwise
it just goes back to I couldn't let it fail. I had to make it work. I had to keep working, and I still do today. it's still like I could still like take a few months off and then it could just all go downhill. So I can't let that happen. I have to keep going. I'm still working on my own. I've got one assistant and my mum works for me. Yeah. So I still have to do everything.
Mumsy.
Yeah, that was the best time employing my mum. But got to just keep grinding. Grinding. And then if I sacrifice now, I'll be rewarded in the future. Discipline now equals freedom, I think. So keeping discipline now will result in holidays in the future and relaxing.
But I think that is quite philosophical to say that.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
You can have a little round of applause for that. Congratulations, you got there. So what would be, we've talked about your advice for people who are kind of want to follow that passion, but just in life, what's like the best piece of advice that anyone's ever given you? It's like, no one's given me any advice.
Gets me this.
I did it all myself.
I asked this question a lot. Best bit of advice.
What are you trying to say?
I watched The Office US too much. You watched that?
No, I've only watched it a little bit.
Oh, it's so funny. You got to watch it. One of the Michael Scott, the main character, says to the other character, Dwight, "Don't be an idiot." I think that's a great piece of advice. If you think you're going to do something that an idiot would do, this just don't do it. There's one.
Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
true. Would an idiot do it? No.
Would an idiot do it? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to do it.
There you go.
That's it.
No, that's one of them.
Okay, that's the thought process.
We'll come back to this, but I'll think about it.
Okay, have a little think about it. I think like those pieces of advice can really help people as well, because sometimes you hear something or somebody tells you something and it literally like can change. You're like, oh my God. I think Oprah calls it an aha moment.
Yeah. So I'm actually like, even though I'm now in class as an author, I'm not very imaginative with my words or my sentences, so I struggle with motivational things like that. But if I can help motivate anyone, the best thing that's happened to me is looking after myself.
Yeah.
So if I go on a night out and I get a hangover, I'm not going to perform well the next day. Yeah. So I just know to look after myself, eat healthy, drink lots of water, exercise, and I'll be the best version of myself.
Okay. Before we end this interview, let's talk about the state of your DMs. How many DMs do you get from girls? Because I've nicknamed you Ladies Love Cool Gaz. Hello, Cool Gaz.
Hello, Cool Gaz. I get quite a lot of DMs.
You get quite a lot of DMs, yeah. And sometimes invites to tents.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah, but I think when you go to a festival full of vegans, and
what you say, horny
YouTuber,
vegan women.
Yeah, I think I'm glad I only was there for a few hours.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't camping, I should say.
The offers come in thick and fast.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what? It makes me proud, though.
You always want the ones you can't get.
Oh, really? Is that how it works? Yeah. Oh, do you want to put a shout out to anyone? Are you going to tell us?
I don't embarrass myself.
I'm the worst for that, though. If I know, I'll do it straight away. I think what I was quite proud about, though, talking to you and then talking to Tom, is realising that like women in this day and age are so forward that they will just come up to you and be like, "You want to go?"
It's mad, isn't it?
How do you deal with that?
Oh, I get a bit awkward and shy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I prefer to be the chaser, you know.
Yeah. Not to be chased.
Exactly.
You're like, quick.
Caught in the
headlights. What do you say? And just be like, I'm a bit busy now. Can't really do it. How do you get out of it?
She said, do you want to sneak into my tent after? And I said,
didn't she say something about a butternut squash? Or was that, I imagine, because something you'd said on stage?
I said something that I really enjoy. Butternut squash and taking it home from the supermarkets and doing some nice things to it, but I mean cooking. I was being innocent. But then she mentioned, she was very forward. Can we change the subject? Tell her about future plans.
Have you had enough now?
My mum's going to watch this.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure your mum knows. At least she doesn't have to deal with your DMs.
I guess so. Maybe that's
get your assistant to do it. Yeah. Get your mum to just bat them off and deal with them. Security. Let's talk about your future plans. What's coming up? We know the restaurant's happening when you get to 1 million subscribers. Sorry.
So I'm lucky that I got this platform now.
Yep.
And they sort of engaged into my cooking. Yeah. Which is great. But they've also engaged in me as a person, which I never expected because I'm quite softly spoken, shy. I'm never the loudest person in the room, but they just like I'm chilled, I guess. Yeah. Most of them do. Also, I've got big passion for clothing and music and things like that. And
mixtape coming soon.
I don't know about that. I wish I could put out a mixtape, but it won't happen. Okay. Maybe I'll DJ soon. I'm too busy at the moment. But clothing and ethical fashion is something that I really want to do. So I should be coming out with a collaboration for with my own pair of trainers.
Who with? You'd have to say.
I can't say it just yet, but it's a very well known brand who are doing some amazing things, and all vegan. It's quite hard to actually get vegan shoes. You know, go out that are cool, because I know friends that wouldn't go vegan because they won't be able to get the latest Nikes. You know, so. If I can put out there like good pairs of shoes, this is what I've always wanted to do, and then my own clothing brand I really want to do. So
it's called LL Cool Gas.
So, but I don't want it to just be vegan. So I want everyone to wear it. I want it to be really cool. So but that's in the future.
That's the plan.
That's what I'd love to do, and then restaurants and
world domination,
fitness world
basically.
As well.
Oh, fitness world. What are you going to do? Like as in vegan supplements and stuff like that?
Not necessarily, because I think food is the best thing. Okay. You know, we shouldn't rely on supplements too much.
Meal plans?
No, I want to do
fitness
get
videos?
A gym or do fitness videos, or inspire people to use exercise as the best form of, you know, sorting mental health issues. I think, because it's really helped me. Mm-hmm. So just encourage people and just use my platform in the right way to help people live a better life, if I can do anyway.
I think that's amazing. Just quickly before you go, and to finish up on one thing that I forgot to ask you that I wanted to, is like you've spoken a lot about that you do get positive comments, sometimes you get like negative ones. Has there ever been a time where that's affected you, and how did you deal with it?
When I'm having a bad day and I see like a horrible comment, it does get to you. Like it's hard not to, especially when I put all my effort and passion into really making this really nice piece of content, and then someone will comment on something really like annoying and silly and stupid, but then you just realize that these people are just people tell me that they're just reflecting their own sort of hatred almost on you, and you shouldn't take any notice of it. And I get 90% good comments, so just focus on those ones. Don't worry about the 10%, but every now and then I can't resist replying to the bad ones, a little cheeky remark back, but there's no point.
Just do a JME, blocked fam.
There you go, yeah, that's it. But then their comments are helping my channel, so keep commenting, haters.
Let them stay there. Haters gonna hate. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Folks, if you're listening or watching, make sure you get Gaz's book, Vegan 100. His next book is coming out as well, and you've got your vegan Christmas book. So
I can tell you the name, actually, exclusive.
Go on then. Exclusive.
Plants Only Kitchen.
Plants Only Kitchen. Yes. Okay. Good. I like it. Yeah. Awesome. Something to look out for. When's it coming out?
I think April next year.
Okay, April next year. Plants Only Kitchen. Exclusive here for the Help Yourself podcast. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Best of luck for the future. If you've loved the podcast, please make sure that you review it, or if you're watching on YouTube, that you like, share, subscribe to my channel.
And comment.
Wicked. And comment. Nice comments, please. Or bad. It's fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was excellent.